Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. The book in 3 sentences. I would like you to listen to this full audiobook summary attentively and practice whatever tips that I gave in this audiobook summary. Now I would like to sum up this book in just 3 sentences first, and then I would share you the ideas about this book. So the first sentence that I would like to summarize this book is: Stoicism is as relevant today as it was when it was first recorded. Second sentence: serenity and ethical certainty come from within. And third sentence: detach from the things that are beyond your control and focus on your own will and perception. This book has 5 big ideas according to me, and those are: first one, everything we see is a perspective, not the truth. Second one, you have the power over your mind, not outside event. Realize this and you will find strength. Third sentence, very little is needed to make a happy life. It is all within yourself, in your own way of thinking. Fourth sentence, it is not death that a man should fear, but he should fear never beginning to live. And fifth sentence, never let the future disturb you. You will meet it, if you have to, with the same weapons of reason which today arm you against the present. Now I will directly jump into the meditation summary. When you wake up in the morning, tell yourself, the people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they can't tell good from evil. But I have seen the beauty of good and the ugliness of evil, and have recognized that the wrongdoer has a nature related to my own, not of the same blood or birth, but the same mind, and possessing a share of divine, and so none of them can hurt me. Stop allowing your mind to be a slave, to be jerked about by selfish impulses, to kick against faith and the present, and to mistrust the future. At some point you have to recognize what world it is that you belong to, what power rules it, and from what source you spring, that there is a limit to the time assigned you. And if you don't use it to free yourself, it will be gone and will never return. Concentrate every minute like a Roman, like a man, on doing what's in front of you with a precise and genuine seriousness, tenderly, willingly, with justice, and on freeing yourself from all the other distractions. Yes, you can, if you do everything as if it were the last time and the last thing you were doing in your life, and stop being aimless. Stop letting your emotions override what your mind tells you. Stop being hypocritical, self-centered, irritable. Do external things distract you? Then make time for yourself to learn something worthwhile. Stop letting yourself to be pulled in all directions. People who labor all their lives but have no purpose in direct every thought and impulse towards are wasting their life, even when hard at work. Don't ever forget these things: the nature of the world, my nature, how I relate to the world, my proportions of it, I make it up. That you are part of nature, and no one can prevent you from speaking or acting in harmony with it, always. In comparing sins the way people do, Theophrastus says that the ones committed out of desire are worse than the once committed out of anger, which is good philosophy. So the sins of desire are the worst. You could live life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Nothing is more pathetic than people who run around in circles, delving into the things that lie beneath and conducting investigations into the souls of people around them, never realizing that all of you have to do is to be attentive to the power inside you and to worship it sincerely. You cannot lose another life than the one you are living now, or live another one than the one you are losing. You can't lose either the past or the future. How could you lose what you don't have? The present is all that they need and they can give up, since that is all you have, and what you do not have you cannot lose. Don't waste the rest of your time here worrying about other people unless it affects the common good. It will keep you from doing anything useful. You will be too preoccupied with what so and so is doing, and why, what they are saying, and what they are thinking, and what they are up to, and all the other things that throw you off and keep you from focusing on your own mind. We should listen only to those whose life conform to nature. Never regard something as doing you good if it makes you betray a trust, or lose your sense of shame, or makes you show hatred, suspicion, ill will, or hypocrisy, or a desire for things best done behind closed doors. Each of us lives only now. This belief instant, the rest has been lived already or is impossible to see. Nothing is so conducive to spiritual growth as this capacity for logical and accurate analysis of everything that happens to us. If you do a job in a principled way, with diligence, energy, and patience, if you keep yourself free of distractions and keep the spirit inside you undamaged, as if you might have to give it back at any moment. If you can embrace this without fear or expectations, can find fulfillment in what you're doing now, as nature intended, and in superhuman truthfulness, every word, every utterance, then your life will be happy. No one can prevent that. No way can you go in more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul. The world is nothing but change. Our life is only perception. Choose not to be harmed and you won't be harmed. Don't feel harmed and you haven't been. Every event is the right one. Look closely and you'll see. See not what your enemy sees and hope that you will, but what really there. Your conversion should always rest on a conviction that it's right and benefits others, nothing else. Most of what we say and do is not essential. If you can eliminate it, you'll have more time and more tranquility. Ask yourself at every moment, is this necessary? Don't give the small things more time than they deserve. What happens to everyone, bad and good alike, is neither good nor bad. Suppose that a good God announced that you were going to die tomorrow or the day after. Unless you were a complete coward, you wouldn't kick up a fuss about which day it was. What difference could it make? Now recognize that the difference between years from now and tomorrow is just as small It's unfortunate that this has happened. No, it's fortunate that this has happened and I've remained unharmed by it, not shattered by the present or frightened of the future. It could have happened to anyone, but not everyone could have remained unharmed by this. Why treat the one as a misfortune rather than the other as fortunate? Remember this principle. When something threatens to cause you pain, the thing itself was no misfortune at all. To endure it and prevail is greater good fortune. The things you did about determine the quality of your mind. Your soul takes on the color of your thoughts. If the gods have made decisions about me and the things that happened to me, then they were good decisions. Why would they expend their energies on causing me harm? What good would it do them or the world, which is their primary concern? Whatever happens to you is for good of the world. When you need encouragement, think of the qualities the people around you have. This one's energy, that one's modesty, another's generosity, and so on. Nothing is as encouraging as when virtues are visibly embodied in people around you. When we are practically showered with them, it's good to keep this in mind. Remember that our efforts are subject to circumstances. You weren't aiming to do the impossible, aiming to do what? Then to try, and you succeed. What you set out to do is accomplished. Don't be ashamed to need help. Like a soldier storming a wall, you have a mission to accomplish. And if you are being wounded and you need a comrade to pull you up, so what? It doesn't hurt me unless I interrupt its happening as harmful to me. I chose not to. When people injure you, ask yourself what good or harm they thought would come of it. If you understand that, you feel sympathy rather than outrage or anger. Your sense of good and evil may be the same as theirs or near it, in which case you have to excuse them. Treat what you don't have as non-existent. Look at what you have, the things you value most, and think of how much you've craved them if you didn't have them. But be careful, don't feel such satisfaction that you start to overvalue them. Then it would upset you and lose them. Everywhere, at each moment, you have the option to accept the event with humility, to treat this person as he should be treated, to approach this thought with care so that nothing irritable creeps in. Pain is neither unbearable nor unended as long as you keep in mind its limits and don't magnify them in your imagination. You don't need much to live happily, and just because you abandoned your hopes of becoming a great thinker or scientist, don't give up on attaining freedom, achieving humility, serving others, obeying God. For every action asks, how does it affect me? Could I change my mind about it? If an outcome is in your control, why do you do it? If it's in someone else's, then who are you blaming? Atoms? The gods? Stupid either way. Blame no one. Set people straight if you can. If not, just repair the damage. Don't let your imagination be crushed by life as a whole. Don't try to picture everything bad that comes possibly happen. Stick with the situation at hand and ask, why is it this so unbearable? Why can't I endure it? You'll be embarrassed to answer. External things are not the problem. It's your assessment of them which you can erase right now. If the problem is something your own character, who is stopping you from setting your mind straight, and if it is that you are not doing something you think you should be, why not do it? The existence of evil does not harm the world, and an individual act of evil does not harm the victim. Only one person is harmed by it, and he can stop being harmed as soon he decides to. Everything that happens is either endurable or not. If it's endurable, then endure it. Stop complaining. If it's unendurable, then stop complaining. Your destruction will mean its end as well. Just remember, you can endure anything your mind can make endurable by treating it as in your interest to do so, in your interest or in your nature. If they are made a mistake, correct them gently and show them where they went wrong. If you can't do that, then the blame lies with you or no one. Characteristics of a rational soul: self-perception, self-examination, and the power to make itself whatever it wants. 4 habits of thought to watch for and erase your mind when you catch up. First one: everything you are trying to reach by taking the long way around, you could have right now, this moment, if you would only stop thwarting your own attempts, if you are only let go of the past and trust the future to providence and guide the present towards reverence and injustice. Second, don't let anything deter you: other people's misbehavior, your own misperception, what people will say, or the feelings of the body that covers you. Let the affected part take care of those, and if when it's time to depart, you shunt everything aside except your mind and the divinity within. If it isn't ceasing to live that you're afraid of, but never beginning to live properly, then you'll be worthy of the world that made you. Tell yourself, this thought is unnecessary, this one destructive to the people around you, this wouldn't be what you really think, to say what you don't think, the definition of absurdity. And the fourth reason for the self-reproach, that the more divine part of you has been beaten and subdued by the degraded mortal part, the body and its stupid self-indulgence. So your divine part, your soul, should not be beaten, but your body can be beaten. So your body's harm cannot travel to your soul. And with these thoughts, I would say I have really summarized the entire book, that is the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. Thank you for listening and have a great day ahead.